this is video for guys who are recently putting all their effort, all their energy into selling their beats. So I don't mean creating content, I don't mean any kind of marketing, I mean strictly attempts to make money on beats. So it's not for guys making beats for 3 weeks, praying that somebody will find their beat somehow. This is specifically for guys who started making money on beats and started to love making money on beats. I'm Mordarski and I will help you make your first K selling beats. So basically, selling your music, making money on your music could stop your growth, could stop your progress. Selling your beats could literally be the reason you plateau on your YouTube, on your Instagram, on your social media, and generally in your music. But to fully understand what I'm actually talking about, I need to give you a quick comparison. Comparison generally from kind of my life history. So basically I will compare my approach from 2024 to my approach that is more kind of recent from 2025. So in 2024 I had this really proper like locked in period of 3 months, like between 3rd and 4th year of high school, where I locked in and I focused 100% on making money. Okay, so basically I was very productive. The field I was productive. My main priority was making money because my main point was not going to the job but making at least like as much money as I would make in some summer job. Okay, so that's why my main objective was making money. So basically that's how I made my first $1,000. Okay, so without that period maybe I would still be like below $1,000 made from producing basically, but it was period when I started making actual money from my beats. Okay, because before that I made like some totally random money from my beats, maybe a few $100, then I made like a few $1,000, so difference is pretty big. But so basically my main point was making money. Then I made this money, but the thing was I wasn't even really putting out content I put out wasn't the reason I was making money, because I focused strictly on working directly with rappers. That's my method I'm teaching. That's how you can make a lot of money even with small audience, and it works. But there is one nuance. I started doing it too early. Okay, I'm teaching you in my method. Basically it's like my kind of my 5 steps method. You can check my channel, you can check first link in the description, you will understand what I'm talking about here. But basically my method will learn you how to create proper contact list of rappers that are good to work with. My problem was my method, my procedure for monetizing my audience was proper, but my audience was not. I didn't attract rappers, I didn't have rappers in my contacts that were actually as valuable as I assumed they could be. So basically, because of working with them, there were 2 problems. Because I made money, but I didn't hit any really popular song with those rappers, so nothing even over 10,000 streams, nothing over that. It was maximum 5,000 streams with those songs, so I didn't get any credit for that, any recognition. I was totally focused on working with them directly, so making beats for them, mixing, mastering for them. So I also was lacking like uploads to my YouTube type beat channels, to some Instagram, whatever. So I didn't actually build any new channel, and my old channels plateau. I put out some content on them, that those channels didn't totally like fall off, didn't totally die, but I made no progress on them. My Instagram at the beginning was like 100 followers, at the end it was also 100 followers. Basically what I'm telling you, I didn't get any credit, any recognition in the industry, any proper placement that would be like a flex for me. No, I didn't get any new crazy connection, I didn't grow my social media. I stayed the same guy, just with a little bit more money. And now if my audience was bigger at first, I could work with more popular rappers, so working with them would bring me credit by itself, and they would also bring me more money. And maybe I will get to the consequences of that later. But basically, if I had better audience, I would make more money and I would get credit work with them. I didn't, because my audience was weak, basically. Okay, as rappers they were weak, nice people, but they were not a real thing as a rapper. Okay, now in 2025, so it's very recent for me. Last month, I would say that on average I made less money than last year, and I used to think about it a lot, why actually it happens. And I understood, like I had to really think about it for a minute. Why is it happening? That why actually, like, it's not like I made 0 money, but I made less. So I'm thinking, okay, so what's the fucking reason? Like, I'm better skills, I have some more connections, I'm grinding hard. But I understood previous year I was focused only on making money. This year, I understood my mistake from previous year, that I was focused too much on strictly money. I understood I need to build my social media channels. So at the moment, I'm running this new YouTube Type Beat channel, and recently it really started to take off. Right now, like the charts are going really up. So I think that in a few weeks or few months, I will be able to show you like results of basically blowing it up. I grew my Instagram, still nothing crazy, but I landed few successful reels. I now have more like over 200 followers, which is still kind of small number, but it's like double from last year, so it's kind of proper, because I was really like growing my Instagram for like a month, so still not that bad. And I have this channel, so while I'm recording this channel already like had few successful videos. I gathered a lot of people, and this channel also generates me money. Basically all those new streams of audience, okay, because like Instagram was new source of audience, this new YouTube Type Beat channel new source of audience, this channel is also new source of audience for me. They are not making me more money than previous year, because I just started them, but audience that I'm starting to kind of acquire is way more valuable for me than this audience that I worked with previous year. Wait, I need to grab a bottle of water. I'm making less money, but I'm like growing way faster. This channel that you are watching it, I feel that while you are watching it will be over 1000, because first 2 months were really fucking hard, no growth at all, maybe at best 100 views. Right now it really starts to be the thing that I'm getting like subscribers daily, I'm getting some real views on videos, and also my website with my product is like visited way more often. So basically this thing is growing. My new YouTube Type Beat channel is also growing, and my like previous channels are right now they are where they are, because I'm not really improving them at the moment, because they are kind of not worth it. So basically, and those rappers that I'm working with right now are way more serious, are way more professional, and have way bigger budget than previous year, okay? Because previous year it was literally the thing that rappers I worked with had so like they didn't have enough money to literally like keep working with me for real. They just didn't. Even if I offered them some crazy thing like, you know, mixing, mastering 2 exclusive beats for $200, they couldn't really afford it usually. Right now, people I work with, those rappers, are definitely better in that. So basically, now comparison. Last year I focused only on money, my growth stopped. Now I stopped caring about money, and I'm growing. My audience is growing fucking a lot, okay? I already like reached out to thousands of producers with this channel. When you watch this, it's probably way more. I reached out to thousands of rappers with new YouTube Type Beat channel, because I tried like 2 or 3 new YouTube Type Beat channels, okay? I reached out to thousands of rappers on my Instagram content. Last year, it was fucking dead. It was no progress, okay? So basically, I kind of traded this money for growth. And basically I was like, it still wasn't so obvious to me, but I like read like few books basically about startups. And interesting thing about startups, so they're basically those like starting technology companies usually, and like a lot of them, like generally the important fact about startups is generally 90% of them go down after like a year, and they end up bankrupt and in debt. But this little percent of startups just go to billions of worth, or hundreds of millions of dollars. But basically most of startups, more of all those new technology companies, and going back in time, we could call a startup like, let's say, Amazon, which isn't a street example, but generally those beginning technology companies. So for example, Amazon and Facebook, they were not making money for first years. I read that Amazon didn't really make a profit in like first like 10 years or something like that. And now it's not like they weren't making money, because now understand, if Amazon let's say sells you something for $200, let's say a hoodie, okay, it means that you paid him $200, he made money. But the real thing, he didn't make this money, he got $200 back, but if he had to spend $250 for that $200, he's on minus profit. If he would spend $150, he would be $50 in profit. But they were in like negative profit. They were not making money. Facebook, the same thing. Before they started running ads, they were not making money. When you look at when you generally look at the stock market, those starting companies, usually from some high-tech technology type of stuff, they are not really making money. in first years. After like 5 years, 10 years, they change their business model to this more profitable one, okay? So I think that we should think the same way about our business. In first months, in first years, we shouldn't totally even consider really monetizing it. In first years, the only important factor in our business is generally our growth, growing our audience. Like I would love to give you a big point about growing like different things, but basically growing audience. There is no more valuable thing than growing proper audience. If I could reach out to, let's say, 10,000 rappers like that, today, let's say, to their phone number, call them and show them all my beats, I would be probably I would be fucking millionaire from my beats, okay? Literally, it's not even at this point. I think that proper audience is even better than proper beats, because if you have proper audience, then you can sell beats from other producers. You can be just, in the middle of the process. You can, let's say, take, basically you could take percent from that if you have audience of all proper rappers, okay? If you could contact with, if you, in your audience, assume that there is like Nelly Choppa, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, whatever, if they were in your if those guys are in your fucking audience, you are a millionaire, man. So yes, the most important thing that we need to bear in mind when we are growing our selling beats business is growing our audience. And now selling our stuff is what actually happens when you try to monetize too hard in a startup, okay? Because if Amazon focused too much on monetizing and making profit in first years, he would start making profits. He would make, it would make more money, because they were on negative profit, they would start making profit, it would be nice, they would make millions or billions of dollars, but their prices wouldn't be so good compared to other online shops and to some other retail stores in real life. So people would rather buy in old ways. Amazon had to cut their own profits. They had to put money out of their own pocket on the table, give it to customer. That's basically what they've done, because they paid for part of product you bought, literally, in this way. And in this way, they attracted customers, and now, whoa, the biggest fucking shop online, the biggest online store in the world, in the history, okay? Billions and billions of dollars in whatever, okay? I don't know specific numbers right now, but one of the most important companies in the fucking world right now, okay? And all because they focus on growing audience at first, of growing audience of customers. That's what we need to do. If we try to at the beginning focus on making every fucking goddamn penny from every fucking customer we could get, we will stop growing, because we will start putting our effort into making money, not into growing our audience, okay? What is the difference between us and those like startup companies? Why they are in kind of more privileged position? Because they basically make money through selling stocks. They just get really high value on stock market, even if they are not making profit. They can sell some part of their own shares. They have money because of that. We can do that. But the other thing, we also are not in negative profit. That's important, because we are, like, when you are a producer, you're just putting your own time and that's it, okay? You're just putting time. It doesn't cost us anything in terms of like financial thing. So that's our advantage, and that's like advantage of like startup companies, but we are running the same thing, okay? You should think about your selling business, even though it seems completely unreasonable and completely insane. We are running startup. We shouldn't think about profits. If you started producing, and maybe not even producing, if you've started growing, let's say, some YouTube channel, some Instagram account, some TikTok account, for first year, you shouldn't really even think about monetizing it. I would love to follow this by myself, but for example, on this channel, I'm not really into that, because I launched my products. I already sell stuff on this channel. It already makes me money. But honestly, if I would have to start again, I would tell myself, don't sell anything during a first year. Literally, just cut your own profit and grow your audience. I'm kind of still doing it, because I'm not trying to show products at you. I'm just telling you I have like my product first link in the description. That's all, and you can just watch my content and be good with that. So I'm not pushing you to buy anything by any means. You can just watch my content and also make a lot of crazy progress in producing and get a lot of really good fucking lessons. I'm not trying to hide anything from you this way. So basically, in your first year or even like first 2 years of growing your audience on new type of channel, on new Instagram account, you shouldn't think about monetizing, which is like, it is counterintuitive, and it also is kind of the opposite of what I used to tell you in my videos. If you watch my previous videos, this is like for my current subscribers, or if you go back to my previous videos, I teach a lot about monetizing your audience, and that's like, that works, but you just need proper audience because now learn from my mistake. Why now I had to go back to building my audience? Because my audience was weak. My YouTube type channel was like main source of income was weak. It was that niche. There were no actual good popular rappers in the niche. Okay, so like it was NWA type channel. Now you're asking, what the fuck is NWA? That's the point. Nobody who is still in the game really will pursue this type of sound because it's not popular. Okay, it doesn't have viral potential. You should delay moment of monetizing as long as possible. If you don't need money right now, just don't do it, basically. Because like, if I at least last year made a lot of money, I could just, I could be a high school dropout, don't go to college, I could be like full-time. But my problem is, it wasn't just that rappers were not interested. I had not that many rappers in my contact list and they didn't have a lot of money. So I made only a few $1,000s. If I made 10 times more, yeah, then I could drop out from high school, I could go full-time completely. But don't make my mistake. Don't get first few fucking sales and then focus only on that, because you will stay on a few $100s a month. This is not like, even if your ambitions are fucking low, making a few $100s a month is like, you will not survive with that. We need at least a few thousand. So if you're not sure that your audience can give you at least this, like, let's say $1,500 per month, it doesn't really make sense to go full time into that. So now, like, the nuance for that, you're growing is your channel, people are DMing you for beats, yeah, nice, sure, sell it to them, like, by any means, run your BeatStars, sell your stuff, because it will be actually passive income, okay? It's like, I'm not telling you to just not just like take money from YouTube monetization because it doesn't make sense. I'm telling you, just not push it, because in my method, and generally some people use my method, some people use it even without thinking that this is kind of like, thing from me, because it's kind of my description of kind of monetizing your audience. Some people will now kind of autistically just DM all rappers they know, they will go on course, they will try to use my method basically from my course to my videos, and it will be mistake, because they will start too early. And if you have no audience and you start doing it, that's not that problematic, because you will have no results. So after a week or month you will stop. But if you start getting results, that's the main problem. That's why I'm recording it, because I understood that I actually, when this is for guys who are watching me for some time and they know about my methods of selling beats basically, if you will get into it too early, you can waste a lot of time. I wasted months for that. I honestly think like this period when I focused only on selling beats was necessary, but basically it stopped me from growing, because at first I had 2-3 months totally only on making money without thinking about growth, and it also, and in following months, even though I was generally putting less work into producing because of my high school and board exams, I just had bad fucking mindset. I kept thinking only about money and not about making content, growing audience. So it stopped me for months and months, maybe not a year, but let's say 9 months easily. 10 months, it could be something like that. So don't make my mistake. Don't monetize your stuff till you really have proper audience. If you don't have at least 5 rappers, who are like over 10k listeners, at least 10k listeners, if you don't have them in DMs and you can't call them today and offer them beats, don't pursue selling too much. Till this point, you just need to gather these contacts. Then you can start acting, you can start selling, because those 5, if you can make those 5 guys buy beats from you every month, yeah, now we're talking. Like, because then $200, let's say, yeah, you could make $1,000, even $2,000 with that basically. But don't try to monetize with shitty audience. Till this point, make only money passively. If somebody asks you for the beat, sell it to them, but don't focus on that too much, okay? So that's basically the whole thing. If you want to know about selling beats, so maybe you're on the other part of the spectrum, so you just don't know how to sell directly to rappers, you can go into first link in description, so then you will understand how to monetize and when to monetize, because like that's my whole course for selling beats. Like you will also learn about growing audience, because you will not make money without growing your audience. So if you're generally interested in selling your beats, making money and getting more views, more streams, go into first link in description. This is my community with all my courses. I also do those weekly meetings, like those video calls where I go like that in front of the camera and answer your questions. So if you want to invest in your producing journey, that's a really fucking nice feature. So go into first link in description. That's all for today. Bye.